yellow silks at Dogwood stables are known on-site by thoroughbred racers, owners, patrons, and horse enthusiasts all over the world. With 6 trips to the Kentucky Derby, a Preakness winner, a Breeders' Cup victory, 6 millionaires, and many other stakes victories, Dogwood stable has become a cornerstone in the racing industry. Horses like Summer Squall, Storm Song, Limehouse, they all started here, where one man's passion has inspired a community and an industry.
When I was a small child, my father took me to Kentucky to see Man o' War, and that was one of the great thrills of my life. That was like seeing the Parthenon or the Taj Mahal, but I will never forget it. And I think that day I fell in love with the thoroughbred racehorse.
And many years ago, you had your farm in Georgia. Now you're in Aiken. How did that come about?
Well, I lived in Georgia, in Atlanta. I was in another business. I was chairman of the board of an advertising agency. Conceived the idea of forming a partnership to own a racehorse, which had never been done. And I did, and it caught on, and the next thing I knew, I had a lot of horses, a lot of investors, and I thought I've either got to do one thing or the other. So I started Dogwood Farm, about 60 miles away from Atlanta, operated that for some years, and then we had achieved so much momentum we didn't need a farm. So I thought we'll streamline our operation, move it to a great horse town, and we picked up and came to Aiken, South Carolina, one of the great training centers in America, and that was in '87.
And when you were establishing the facilities here, what kinds of things were you looking for?
Well, you were looking for a concentration of horse people, good blacksmiths, veterinarians, riders, grooms, and since horses have trained here for many, many decades, they were here, and we had some connections here. Some of the trainers that were located here were good friends. We were urged to come, encouraged to come, and I am so glad we did.
Now, Dogwood Stable, it's very reputable. It's known as the pioneer of thoroughbred racing partnerships. What would you say that means?
Well, we were the first person to conceive the idea of group ownership, several people owning a horse in a limited partnership in those days. That had never been done. I was told that it couldn't be done, but in my case, it was a question of energy and enthusiasm overcoming stupidity and bad judgment, and it worked. And it today is one of the prominent things you see in racing. Probably, I'd say 35% of the horses that race in America are owned by partnerships.
Wow. Now, would you say that you operate your stable like other places? How's it different?
Well, we operate it in that I manage it. We've got 63 horses. Every horse is owned by 4 different people, or not 4 different people, but by 4 shares. And so that probably involves 110 or 20 people. We've got one man that owns a share in every horse and has for 15 years. Others that own multiple shares, others that own 1 share. So each partnership stands on its own. We send the horses to the races. I manage the partnership, call the shots. The name of the game is that a horse goes to the races and earns money winning races. Some do, and a lot of them don't.
What would you say, you've mentioned some of this, what would you say makes Dogwood Stable such a recognizable name and silk?
Well, I think the fact that we've been around a long time, we've won some of the great races in the world. 6 times we've represented America in international racing competition. We've run 7 horses in 6 derbies, 2 champions, 70 stakes winners. We've been at it a while, and thank God we've had some horses that have come along and won some big races. Yeah,
you trained these horses here. Have you ever thought of relocating maybe all the way to Kentucky, or do you like being right here?
I love being in Aiken. The great thing about Aiken is its climate. There's a change of season, but there's no severity to it. If you were in Kentucky, the racetracks would be frozen 3 or 4 months during the wintertime. You couldn't use them. So this is the ideal place to train them. Then when they get ready to race, off to the races in Kentucky or New York or Miami or wherever.
Sounds like you're pretty involved.
I'm very involved. I wouldn't want to be any more so, but it's a great, great life. Nobody ever had a better one.